Within the coastal waters of North Carolina, you can find an amazing animal, the lion seahorse, which is named for its horse-like shaped head. However, that's only the beginning of their interesting story. They have independent moving eyes like a chameleon, skin that changes color like a squid, prehensile tail like a monkey, and in males a pouch like a kangaroo. All of these features are important in the daily life and specifically the mating behaviors and reproductions of the seahorses. We're here today with Brian Dorn, who's the curator of the aquatic animal collection here at the North Carolina Aquarium. Brian, we're standing in front of the seahorse exhibit, which has some great conservation stories about it. Tell me more about why seahorses are endangered in the wild.
The biggest reason that seahorses are endangered is habitat loss. Areas where grass flats grow tend to be where boaters go, and you get prop scars. You have pollution runoff, which can kill off grass flat areas as well, and that is generally where you'll find most of the seahorse population.
Then there's also the question about the traditional folk medicine that these seahorses are used for. How does that story go?
I guess it's mostly the Chinese medicine where they have a long history of using ground up dried seahorses for different cures for different ailments, and they use them prevalently. I mean, that's something that they've used for hundreds and hundreds of years.
And so here we work with other aquariums around the country as a sort of a conservation and breeding effort so that we share instructions and techniques on breeding the seahorses, and then also swap specimens back and forth with each other as we're trying to maintain the reproductive populations that are going on.
The seahorses we have come from at least 3 or 4 different aquariums, so we have a good gene pool to breed our seahorses that we have here at the aquarium.
Seahorses have a really unique reproductive strategy that people have heard about. This whole concept of the males are the ones who give birth. How does that work?
It's unique in that the males actually hold the eggs. The female will transfer the eggs into a pouch that the male has, and they will develop within the pouch. And it can go as quick as 10 days for those animals, those babies, to develop before they call it basically a boil. He releases all the babies out of the pouch, and they can have upwards of 200 to 500 babies in one brood.
Then when the babies are born, they're basically like miniature replicas of the adults. They're born fully developed and looks like the adults would only a much smaller version. How large are they when they're born?
Species that we have here, the line seahorse, they're usually maybe a centimeter, half a centimeter. That's why they require such small food as well.
But it's not easy to rear them in captivity. They have special nutrition and feeding requirements to keep them alive and healthy. What do we do here to make sure we meet their nutritional needs?
Well, it starts with the adults. We have to make sure that our adults are fed very healthy, very nutritious food, because if you don't have healthy adults, you're not going to have healthy babies. Once the babies are born, we have to hatch out brine shrimp or artemia, and we hatch that out daily, and we have to give those little baby seahorses a lot of food because they don't really hunt that well, so we put a lot of food in each and every day, at least twice a day, and then we graduate them up to larger food. So it's a long process, a lot of cleaning of the aquarium, because with all that extra food in there, you're going to get a lot of uneaten food that has to be cleaned out as well. And with a nursery situation, when you have babies, you have to make sure that their environment is very clean, otherwise other diseases and water quality problems come into play as well.
Because they're so small to begin with.
They are so small to begin with, yeah.
All right, thanks, Brian. The seahorses are a great conservation story that we're doing here at the North Carolina Aquarium, trying to educate our visitors about the habitats where these animals live and their importance out there in the wild.
Exactly. So that, one of the messages that we want to get across through this exhibit is be aware of where these animals live in the wild. They live in some pretty touchy areas as far as pollution runoff from fertilizers, from pesticides, and also be aware of your environment when you're out in your boat, that the seagrasses is one of the major areas where they live in, and it's an animal that requires some help from us, or at least awareness from us, in order to keep their populations healthy.
All right, thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.